of the Earth was like drawn on a screen flat out.
Okay.
Now, when you fly an airplane, you're just flying in a circle.
Okay, so if you're in Russia and you want to get to Australia, you have to fly over America and South America?
You just fly down to Australia.
So you don't ever go from, like, America and then you don't, like, end up over in China. You have to fly over Europe and stuff first.
Yeah. To mimic like you're on a circle, because it's trying to keep everybody in check.
Yeah. And they actually just fly around Africa to be like, well, this is just the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
We need to do more psychedelic drugs and get back into this topic to really delve deeper.
Flat Earth?
That's what's called air.
Russia? Wait.
They're called airplanes,
so,
not air
according to
globes.
Flat Earth, so you telling me you can just skip over the Arctic to go to... Look at that.
Airplanes, not air globes.
That's what I call airplanes. Because we live on a flat plane and I call it air globes.
That sounds like an off-brand of Nike shoe.
That's
it's like
just
instead of Air Jordans, they're
that's the
Air
Mike
Michaels.
right there.
I got my Globe Max's Harlem Globetrotter shoe of choice.
How come?
Got my Air Michaels.
So how come the center of the Earth's frozen then? Like Antarctica, and North Pole?
It's the ice wall.
I don't know.
It's not an ice wall at the
know.
North Pole. The Antarctica is the ice wall. North Pole's not an ice wall.
Hey, I'm just saying all the oceans are level, right? There's never a round ocean.
How come the middle is frozen?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That was just
That's
a
a
Dr.
classic,
Photo.
classic flat earther retreating into his own hole.
You guys are telling
Deny,
me that
deny,
Antarctica...
deny.
So Antarctica is a wall around the world. Then why is the North Pole frozen?
There's no North
Why
Pole.
does the top of Mount Everest have snow on it? Because it's cold.
Because it
cold
goes
there.
above that.
Yeah,
but the North
it's
Pole...
the closest
is
point to the snow
Hey.
machines.
But the North Pole
None of
is
the
at zero
buildings, no skyscrapers tilt. They're all flat.
no,
They're
so-
straight up in the air.
No, but the North Pole is at ocean level, zero altitude. Why is it? It's not high. It's not cold. It's not high altitude like the Mount Everest.
I don't know what your map you're looking at, but a true flat earther, there's no North Pole. It's just countries, continents, oceans, ice wall. That's all I want to say about that. That's it. End of discussion.
So did you know that on Mars that they have giant dust storms every... the last one was back in 2007.
That's not bad.
It's every 5 or 6 Earth years is when they have one.
That's not bad. I think I'd live there.
So you're saying
Well, they call it an apocalyptic dust storm because the wind speeds may only get up to 60 miles per hour, but that's just because of the atmospheric conditions. So that's not heavy winds, right?
no.
Isn't that the kind of winds that we would feel? We wouldn't feel those kind of winds. They'd just be like, "This is nothing to me. I'm a god."
Right. It'd be 60 mile per hour winds. The main thing would be the amount of dust and smoke and debris that gets left in the air for 3 or 4 weeks at a time.
Where's the
Yeah,
smoke
just
come
kill
from?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd
The
be even
smoke.
worse if we were there, like trying to plant corn.
Is Mars volcanically active?
I don't know if it's volcanically active.
I don't think it's as
think it's
volcanically
a-
active as Earth, but I
think
guess
it's a dead
anything's
planet.
possible. We just need to get there
So,
and put a nuke off inside of it. Then it'll get back to get the gears going again.
Yep. Put an
I like how
atmosphere on
somehow
Mars.
dropping a nuke is like, let's inseminate this planet with people. Let's nuke it.
That's how you get the gears going.
That's how you get it starting. Yeah.
I mean, you got to start somewhere, but they said about roughly every 3 Martian years or 5 or 6 Earth years, there's a regional storm that swells up and it circles the whole planet with swirling red dust, leaving only the 15-mile high peak of Olympus Mons peaking above the storm.
The Mons Pubis of Mars.
So, like, everything's covered in dust except for 15 miles of mountaintop.
One pubic mound.
That's not good.
It's just the tip sticking out of the zipper fly of Mars.
Why don't we have like satellite images of this occurring?
We do.
Oh, we do.
So
I mean, the
Mars-
whole planet just turns into a dust bowl.
How about that? So it's
That's not
also
good.
not. Mars isn't volcanically active.
Not yet.
dead.
Not until we get there.
Not yet.
It's dead.
Okay, nuke that bitch.
So
Sorry,
gonna-
Obama.
this is.
We're going to get Bruce Willis down there digging a big-ass hole.
They got Steve Buscemi going, "Hey guys, look, I'm gonna press this button." Woo!
Freaking-
Start shooting everybody.
Get
And then
Steve
one
Buscemi
guy who's-
going nuts.
Clean cut 90s guy who's like pulls his gun out. He's like, mm.
Calm down, Steve. So,
The storm's created because warm air rises off of Mars's surface, and it carries the fine-grained dust up into the air. The dust then absorbs more sunlight and radiates more warmth back to the surrounding air and the surface. So this interacts and it causes the wind effect, and that causes all the dust particles to get blown all over the place. And it also generates a large amount of static electricity, so lightning crackles and sparks throughout the growing storm.
Shit,
That'd be
fuck,
kind of
man.
neat to see.
So
Can you
we need
imagine
it to
taking
rain.
your helmet? Yeah, can you imagine taking your helmet off and breathing in a silica dust, being like,
You just fucking blood just come out of your fucking
yeah.
orifices.
Yeah, you would just die.
So we needed
Well-
the rain on Mars to keep the dirt down.
Yes, because the dust isn't like it's not like a hard like it's going to pelt you and cut you. It's not that type of abrasive
It's just
storm.
loose, fine dust.
It's loose fine dust that clings to everything and blots out the sun for weeks or months at a time like a blanket. And it also traps heat and moisture in the atmosphere. So Mars's average temperature can increase up to 30 degrees Celsius during a global storm. So that might be why there's nothing there right now.
So you're saying they need a rain device on Mars above the colony.
They just need to melt some of the frozen ice that's underneath the
Hold
surface
so
and use it to
negative?
water the planet.
How hot is negative 80 degrees Fahrenheit? Like, filling wise.
What? Say that again,
What?
Chris.
Like
Negative
negative
80
80
Fahrenheit.
degrees. Yeah. I mean, that's cold, but that's not that cold.
That's Fahrenheit, right?
Yeah.
That's fucking cold.
Negative
I mean,
80
it's-
Fahrenheit is cold as shit.
It's cold, but like it's survivable with a thick coat.
So
I
that's
think you
in
need more
the
than that.
that's in the
think
sun.
so.
That's in the sunny part of Mars.
I guess, but I mean, I'm thinking like oxygen
If your
and a thick coat, and you can survive Mars.
I'm saying you jump
if
a
your
nuke.
face is sticking out, your eyeballs would freeze.
Hey,
That's why you're wearing a mask.
just nuke the poles, and you're set.
Yeah.
So I was just seeing what would happen on Mars if you took your helmet off, and it said it would be slightly worse than taking it off in space. The atmosphere on the surface of Mars is nearly a vacuum, so the astronaut would do well to
Oh.
notice the boiling saliva and tears and reseal the helmet immediately. Failing that, he or she would pass out in a few seconds, which is perhaps just as well. In space, you can only cool off by evaporation or by radiating infrared into space. On Mars, the tenuous air is just barely thick enough to conduct heat. It's generally colder than normal northern Siberia in the January, so yeah, don't do that.
All right,
It's
my
like
bad.
Total
Is
Recall, right?
the atmospheric pressure. I forgot about that. That
Well, Arnold-
ruins it.
Arnold Schwarzenegger did it. And his eyeball started popping
That
out of his
guy
head.
just started popping out. He's like,
He would have died.
It says atmosphere pressure is with atmospheric pressure only 1/100th that of Earth. Taking off your helmet there isn't much different from taking off in space.
that's crazy, man. 'Cause
So
on Titan,
Get fucked.
they said on Titan, even though it's minus 300, it's the atmospheric pressure of being in a swimming pool.
If you're on Titan, do you need 2 thick coats, Chris?
No, you just need a suit, skin tight suit that regulates your body temperature.
yeah, you're going to need
Okay.
a breathing machine too to help you combat those pressures of the outside.
Yes,
Get
because
that
lack
SpaceX uniform.
lack of oxygen.
So it basically says any gases in your lungs will be pulled from your mouth and nose from the very low pressure outside. The gases in your blood will come out of solution and generate bubbles in your bloodstream. It's the same
That's
when a
what
driver
kills you.
comes to the surface. When a diver comes to the surface without properly decompressing on the way up, he gets the bends. So what your fellow astronaut would likely see is you turning pale quickly and seeing pain on your face. there'd be frothy blood around your nose and mouth, and you'd likely live for 30 seconds to a minute.
So there's a chance.
Yeah, there is a chance.
Like,
Someone's
say
gonna do
you're,
it.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Say you're like the first execution on Mars, the first colony. Like some dude like murders somebody, so you're like, all
Take
right,
his
dude,
helmet
stand
off.
out here, take his helmet off,
God.
and then he run.
Oh.
And then he runs. He's got 30 seconds. He runs to the biochamber or whatever they're living. He locks the doors behind him and screws them. And then he phones NASA and he's like, "Yeah, they died in an accident."
Oh man.
Oh, okay. So this is interesting. So
dumb.
it says if you were to hold your mouth closed,
Helmet.
the lungs would collapse as well if the mouth was open. If not, the lung would explode as the air inside them attempted to get out into the near vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool.
Jesus.
Well, the thing is, though, the key is that you could survive for like 30 seconds.
That's pretty violent.
There's a chance. Well, you know, a planet you could not survive for 30 seconds on.
Where?
Jupiter?
Probably
Oh,
Venus.
Planet
there's a lot, I
X.
guess there's a lot, but
Nibiru.
they've
The anti-moon?
they've nicknamed this one Earth's evil twin. It's Venus.
Oh, okay. The Pat.
Venus
Earth's
is a
past.
cool planet.
Is this the ultimate opposite of Earth?
Yeah, they said it's about the same size, composed of roughly the same rocky layers, and it may once have been habitable, but because of greenhouse effects and other things, Venus is a hellish world where the air could crush a person's ribs and melt lead, and it rains big steaming drops of sulfuric acid.
That's
Big
awesome.
steaming piles of shit.
Because they've
Yeah.
they've sent
So
things in this Venus, and it survives 17 seconds and burns up. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So the atmosphere bears down with a pressure 90 times greater
90?
than that on Earth. 90
So that's like-
times greater.
You're going in there and getting crushed.
Yeah. And the air is a blistering 860 degrees Fahrenheit.
I
You
guess
can
that's-
survive that with like a shirt off and some shorts.
Get a fan in front of you.
Just have an AC unit with you. You're fine. They just have the Freon canister. You're good.
free on kids.
Oh man.
800 times the Earth's gravity down here for freaking weight training. Some Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
shit.
I'm trying to figure out how heavy you would be on Venus.
Well, they said that the temperature at the peaks of the mountains and everything is so high it melts lead and other metals, and then because of the
Lead's-
pressure,
lead. Seriously,
it can
lead. Lead's a pussy metal. You
Well-
can melt it with a lighter.
Well, you know, they said that it melts the metals and then the air pressure compresses it, so metal actually rains down like snowflakes.
That's freaking sweet.
So it's snowing metal on Venus.
Fucking metal. Yeah. Fucking metal, brother.
So 30 miles above the ground, the atmosphere is about the same temperature as Earth's surface, which is cool, right? So it's
Yeah.
about the same, except the wind speed is 200 miles per hour, and it's sulfuric clouds of acid and carbon dioxide. So it just rains acid constantly at 200 miles per hour.
You just wear one of them aluminum foil suits that they wear on volcanoes. You're fine.
It's fine as long as you got the proto molecule with you.
Or if you got Pierce Brosnan, he'll just sacrifice his grandma to pull him across.
Yeah. Asshole.
So it says
So,
the
so don't go to Venus.
yeah
Unless you wanna
there's like a
burned.
sulfuric acid cloud layer, so you might inhale a mist of toxic acid if you tried to breathe. Not to mention the fact that Venus's atmosphere is carbon dioxide, which means you'll asphyxiate if you tried to breathe it. But assuming you had some kind of air supply to breathe and a suit to protect you from the sulfuric acid, you could hang around without a helmet as long as you liked.
Huh.
Take that over draconian NASA helmet rules. Yeah,
Yeah.
Venus is
So
pretty
the,
nasty. Yeah,
Yeah, Venus. The Venus is so hot that the acid rain can't even survive all the way to the ground. That whenever it does rain, they sizzle and steam on the way and vaporize before they hit the surface.
So why can't we nuke Venus's poles to create a
like anti